unmissable for Meryl Streep fans. She plays second fiddle to Anne Hathaway here. Screen time-wise, otherwise she's the whole bloody orchestra. Andy Sachs. Anne Hathaway is a recent journalism graduate hoping for a job at an important news outlet. She gets hired by the ruthless Miranda Priestly, Meryl Streep editor of runway fashion magazine Only She Feels. The magazine is beneath her high-minded journalism. Emily Blunt plays Miranda's long-suffering assistant, and Stanley Tucci plays her longtime second-in-command. But let's get to the crux of the movie, which is actually pretty great fun. The parade of great fashion that whizzes by, the haughty power queen that Streep pulls off with such panache, the steady dribble of insults coming from Blunt's mouth, and the transformation of Hathaway over and over as she moves her way into this world are all really dazzling. It's a fairy tale with its feet firmly on the ground, but what odd, worldly, glitzed up ground to be standing on. This could have been a good movie if it didn't have so much that didn't make sense. When Andy has become comfortable in her new job, she is handing out gifts to all her friends, and they love it. Then all of a sudden, for no reason we ever see, they complain that she isn't the same old Andy. Just because she is working hard, we never see any evidence of her being anyone different than she was at the beginning. She misses her boyfriend's birthday party because she had to work late. That doesn't mean she's a bad person, and she shows that she's sorry in a very sweet way. But I guess we're supposed to hate her now. Then one of her girlfriends sees this high-power writer guy make a pass at her, which she quickly snubs. But the friend acts like Andy was into it, reminds her about her boyfriend, and walks off in a huff. It makes no sense. Andy clearly was not into the guy, but her friend acts like she was. Then the way Andy just completely disses Miranda at the end after they have come to mean something to each other would have only made sense in the middle of the movie. Here it comes off as just a convenient but illogical way to end the show. Then boyfriend Nate takes her back, despite the fact that they have two new jobs in two different cities. How they are going to stay together isn't even brought up. Speaking of Nate, he seems like an understanding regular guy, the kind who would support his girlfriend in whatever she wanted to do. Working like hell in your first job in New York City, it's an incredible opportunity. No way would his character suddenly decide that her career was more important than him. Of course, it probably was just a plot device to make it okay for Andy to fool around with that writer without any guilt, and this tete-a-tete sets up a twist near the end. This movie seems to want to be an insider's look at the rough and tumble world of fashion. I found it unbelievable. Not that I don't believe you have to work for demanding bosses and cut down the number of personal hours in your life, but to think that your friends would abandon you because you're pursuing a dream doesn't ring true. And there is the crux of the problem. Are we supposed to be angry with Andy or Miranda or the seemingly inhuman fashion world? We're never given a consistent sense of who's the villain here. This is a glossy and mostly entertaining film, if a little shallow in terms of story and depth. However, there is a well-written script that sometimes borders toward predictability and nice camera work, not to mention the fashionable costumes. It really takes someone of Streep's caliber to pull off the impossible character of Priestley, because when she does have a moment of vulnerability, it resonates so much more than it should. Although she is far too pretty to be considered frumpy by anyone's standards, the naturally likable Anne Hathaway plays Sachs serviceably and looks sensational in a series of Chanel outfits. She brings the necessary heart to the story, even though the character arc is rather predictable. It does seem a shame that we are supposed to cheer the character's reduction from size 6 to 4, but that is probably as accurate as anything else in the film. The film is just too long, however, primarily because the director feels obliged to explain everything. Every plot point is rendered obviously and painfully clear, and nothing left open for interpretation. That said, we're spared the perfect ending and left with a heroine who can truly stand on her own 2 feet and in any shoes she might desire. Please subscribe my channel if you like my review of these nostalgic films. As a new reviewer, I know my faults, but I gotta start somewhere.